against France and the importance of Savic and understanding matchups and some different 2v2 goals. We're really going to look at set pieces here. And the long throw has become an extremely effective set piece. And it's about, again, finding that matchup, isolating that matchup. And in many cases, it's been Savic. You can see right here just the absolute height difference between Savic and some of the midfielders, even the defenders, even the center backs. He just towers them. He has that power. And then once you've isolated that situation, you can move two players at the same time because you're playing 2v2, of course. And it allows you to then work that together as a collaborative effort. Knocks it down to Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho, of course, converts. We celebrate. Got some dancing, got some prancing, got the draw in this case against France, and it has put Team USA in a point where they can still decide their future. They've got 2 games left. They need to win those matches, but today, day 2 has been much better than day 1. Back to you at the couch with the boys.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's been much better, hasn't it?
Так, все малоха. Стартует 9-й и 10-й матч. Вон сидит Пизин, игрок сборной Бразилии. Сейчас покажу вам таблицу.
On the couch to the guests that are here joining me today. Richard Buckley, we are lilac-minded. Whoop! Do you like what I did there?
I always like what you do, Rachel. It's great to be on the couch.
I want to see what we're wearing. We're wearing the same coloured t-shirt. That's why I said that joke. Anyway, joke went because I can't see me and you together.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with what I've seen this morning. I think a few nations will be very disappointed with their performances. We potentially go out on a limb and say we've seen the nation that's going to be winning the FIFA Nations Cup in this afternoon session as well. I think
big statement.
I just think there's a couple of nations in particular that look really, really refined.
I'm going to not look at Aggie when I say this. Denmark. Playing Canada next. I'm reading into the fact that Anders has run out. Okay, it could have been a toilet break. We don't know, so I'm going to say that the fact that he ran out there, the nerves getting to him, is the pressure getting to him. Are we going to see them falter in this second day?
Very simply, just avoid defeat. To avoid defeat, a draw puts you through. Like, you've got very little points left to play for, 6 points available. If you do the math, they're 4 points clear. Canada have to win, and that's going to pretty much dictate the entire game. I think it's going to be Canada attacking this Danish team. It probably ends up in a draw, and Denmark go through mathematically.
Are you impressed with what we've seen from Malaysia in the second day? Bit of a resurgence from them.
Malaysia, and I was watching the games earlier with Spain as well. Finland. I think Finland have been very, very impressive. Both nations picking up points. Maybe where they arguably on
Стартует 9-й матч.
as well. And that game coming up next.
Здесь у нас 50, вот 9. Марокко против Штатов, они на последнем месте, они не выходят, чему я рад. Малайзия и финны играют решающий матч. Если Малайзия выигрывает, то финны могут не выйти. Финнам даже ничейки хватает. Но Малайзия, чтобы вы понимали, сегодняшний день начали. Выиграли Марокко, который идут на 2-м месте. Сыграли ничью с Италией, которая на 3-м месте. Сыграли ничью с Францией, которая на 1-м месте. Мы расставим матч организаторов. Пусть, брат. Я особо смотрю казахстанский футбол. Я FIFA лучше посмотрю. Только не говорите, что вы этот бесполезный матч собираетесь показывать.
But I will say so far that group stage gives you hints, not definitive answers. So far the hints has been that Denmark doesn't have what it takes to win, but that can easily change when you have the players like Anders and Marcus and Houston as well.
Well, that's a big statement there from Aggie about his own nation. Alex, you can see the nation we're talking about on screen. Marcuso and Anders has jumped back in there. Can Anders, and I don't say this disrespectfully to Marcuso or Houston here.
السعودية ضد الأرجنتين. بالمجموعة بي الآن أمامنا المغرب أمام الولايات المتحدة، ماليزيا أمام فنلندا، إيطاليا أمام فرنسا. غالب المباريات بدأت تقريبا بين المنتخب السعودي.
Аргентина, Саудовская Аравия. Нет, хочу другой матч. Хочу финнов со Штатами. Это Катар. Эмри Алмаз, Леви Левир. Это Дания. Вот он. А, нет, это Штат. Да, вот он, Малайзия, финны. Что у него в руках? Это грелки для рук. Там специально их вот так чуть-чуть трешь друг от друга, и они горят у тебя в руках. Нам тоже их давали в Копенгагене. Крутая тема. Не знаю, если руки холодные, особенно. Финны забивают. Камон, финны. Финны точно. Если сейчас выиграют, финны 100% выходят из группы в плей-офф. Молодцы. Наши братья Косу. Косу Анджинию. Капец много с ними матчей сыграл. С Косу часто переписываемся. Он всегда в тренажерном зале. Ему как ни напишешь, он всегда I'm in the gym. Два 0. Просто тащи. Чех засовывает с подачи. Камон. Все, Малайзия не выходит. Когда у вас матч, брат, мы не вышли в этом году. Я в Казахстане, брат, а не в Саудовской Аравии. Ничего себе, Малайзия уже в прессинг пошла. В первом тайме. Офсайд. Нет, Эшли Кол. Буллет разворачивает Льорису. Походу так сейчас будет идти на Анри. Анри проходит. Страшный рывок. Чех. Еще раз Андрей Гулит. Ай, замах. Камавинга. Сумасшедший заброс какой-то. Финны, походу, выиграют этот матч. Давай FIFA плюс включим. Они, я думаю, убьют. Дания, Канада. Так, кто забил? United States забивает марокканцам. Офигеть. Им нереально нужна эта победа.
From the corner, Thierry Henry strong in the middle of the box, and all those potentials, all those ifs and buts of, well, if we pick up 3 points here, then this result goes our way. The teams that need to win are winning at this current moment. Finland and the United States are going to be going into that final round alongside Malaysia with everything to play for.
There's nothing like leaving a little bit too late, is there? Denmark, Canada, though, that was still 0-0, as is Qatar, Netherlands. A lot of these matches in Group A 0-0. Saudi, Argentina as well.
Малайзия также 2-0. Так, хайлайтс кто-то забил. Ну, обратно марокканцы сразу же сравняли счет. Да, не хочу, чтобы Штаты проходили. Камо Марокко, Маракеш. Дания с Канадой.
the US with that dream start, the start that they need to keep their tournament hopes alive.
It's just something they've lacked probably throughout this tournament, consistency. They've been really good in spells. They come back against Italy, where they scored late, and it was such a sort of a pandemonium here in the arena. And then you go into the next game and you just can't convert.
Канада держит мяч.
You find yourself 1-0 down.
Но они, кажется,
You go
уже
up 1-0
тоже не
against Morocco
вышли.
in the last game, and then they equalise straight away. It's just not being consistent enough to get a top 4 placement, and they are running out of time. Canada, very similar to their North American compatriots here. They have to win this game.
Кто-то кричит на арене, типа кто-то забил,
Of
слышно.
leaving it into the final
Сейчас,
round
походу,
of
нам хайлайт
fixtures
покажет.
to overthrow Denmark. A draw is enough, Aga, for the Danes.
Yeah, and even if Canada were to beat Denmark, I mean, Saudi could still go out as well. I mean, if Canada beats Denmark and Saudi Arabia, and Denmark beat the Netherlands, it's the home favorites who will go out of that group.
Гол Дании.
Speaking of Denmark and
Как у него
Canada,
мяч так подпрыгнул перед
just as
вратарем,
you
что
were
забил.
speaking about some
Мартуза,
permutations,
что ли, забил?
Denmark looking to leave it not
Хайлайтс.
to the final
Кто
matchup
кричал?
as they go 1-0 up.
Италия
Italy and France
кричала.
underway. There was a shout from
Походу.
behind us and it sounded Italian, Alex B.
Кто-то еще
Does
кричит на
sound
арене.
Italian
Кто-то тоже
indeed.
забил только что.
France were looking so strong throughout this
Зачем нам
tournament. They were
показывают
top of
опять
that
гол
group.
Дании?
They've just fallen off slightly. They're still very
Фантастический мяч
comfortable.
прыгнул.
However, this goal here that we saw, Denmark, Canada, Marcuso, he was looking at his teammate Anders. He's just laughing. He was like, I don't
Молодец,
even know what just
убивает
did. Either way,
Финна.
though, he found his way through and a goal back for the Malaysian team of Akmal and Chamak. And we spoke about them today. I've been
Akmal
very, very
and
impressed with their
Chamak.
resilience. Getting a draw against
Daniel.
France as well. Showcasing what they are made of
Неймар.
back to Denmark.
Нет, я
Canada.
думал, сейчас второй гол был.
Yeah, and every day is a new day, as a real of a cliche here, but it's true. And it's also going to be mixed up results tomorrow. We're going to have an indication, as I say, group stages gives you a hint, not a definitive
Астана
answer
забила
on who is going
второй.
forward in the competition. And we will
Come
see upsets.
on.
We will see some of the teams who's performing very good right now going out
А
tomorrow
нет,
early.
отменили походу. Или
Yeah, we
нет?
lose 8 then,
Да,
don't we?
2-0.
After
Нет,
the
один.
seasons, Group C and
Отменили.
D have been completed. And no one
Неприятно.
wants to be in that drop zone. 5 and 6 go home. So we approach like the half-time mark. Only 45 minutes left of this and one more game. You can't find a bit of form now. I'm afraid it looks like it's going to be too late for a couple of these teams. The USA in particular need to really have a little think, don't they? 1 point is not going to be enough from this matchup against Morocco.
This Denmark-Canada game was a draw yesterday, 1-1. The final scoreline, a draw doesn't help Canada at all. The second half, 5 minutes away, but you have to imagine changes will be implemented, more attacking. Try and just throw everything you've got at this Danish side and hope that they wilt in the final 45 minutes. This could be 2-0, dancing around the goalkeeper.
Офсайда не было?
Denmark go
2-0.
2-0 up.
Капец-то изи. Да не, вообще Канада мертвая.
Yeah, just when it matters the most,
I get power.
they step up,
I
and I mean, as long as they're in the
Замена.
competition,
I get power,
I'm
говорит,
sure
все,
that
давай, короче, на
if you
замену
ask
мне
the
тяжко
majority
играть.
of the teams, they will not like to face Denmark. I'm still confident in that.
Where we can get
Ошибка
Spencer
Финнов.
to
Финны 2
ask
забили
Dominic
уже на
that
8-й
and
минуте,
see,
после
you are
этого
right,
голевая засуха.
Aggie, but at the moment it's very much going in the Danes' favour with the other matches as well. That's when we start talking about what's the other team doing, and in particular Saudi, they're still being
Уй,
held to a draw by
Финны, что
Argentina.
творят?
As we have a little look at Group B, doesn't affect the guys in Group A, of course, until tomorrow. This one then, just started to change things up here, Alex.
Yeah, that's Netherlands putting themselves into that lead position against Qatar. We already know Qatar's tournament is over. They will be leaving us today from the group stage. And at times we see it where teams get knocked out and then they come out with those remaining games and they kind of put on a show. They play with freedom, knowing, you know what, we're going home, let's just enjoy those games. That is not the case, though, for the team from Qatar. Malaysia and Finland right now. Another cross coming in. Buckley's he's seeing it time and time again, and he's taking notes. thinking, how can I bring that into my game?
I just don't have the big men for it.
Not your play style, though?
It can be my play style. You've got to have the personnel, though, as well. There's no point crossing into sort of a... Very similar to when we had sort of R9 and Eusebio, Pele, Cruyff as the meta items in the game. Crossing wasn't a thing. I think we've only seen it emerge as the players who you're crossing into have got better and better and better. The goalkeepers, I mean, have completely done a 180 on the entire game. The Shapeshifters promo, FIFA is playing at such a different style, different tempo, different play style. Everything has changed with that recent promo in the game, especially at this level. Previous FIFAs, a Ruud Gullit, a Patrick Vieira, there was no one like those items in the game. Now you just put Hugo Lloris in centre mid, and he's arguably better than both those two combined.
Malaysia, это был удар
6'8", can skill, can move on the ball. Out wide, Thierry Henry, better than most players aren't even taking R9 in their teams. That just goes to show how effective these players are. I think the only ones who really survived the Shapeshifter promo
кто-то забил.
very well could be Mbappe.
Голландцы забили второй гол. Уй, хорошо, подачка с дальней.
All the different iterations of Mbappe, and he's still in now. Other than that, you're pretty much looking at an entire new team.
Netherlands then just got another goal, didn't they, against the team from Qatar. 2-0, that one is. Second half underway, though, of Denmark-Canada here. Canada, unfortunately, haven't been able to break down this Danish side, have they, Aga? And, yeah, looking like they need to find something now.
Yeah, and I think at this stage, if you're Canada, you just have to go all in. I mean, you need
Кто-то кричит. И причем как будто это Саудовская Аравия кричит.
At their point, they shouldn't care if they lose with 5. Just go for the comeback now.
Speaking of a side that's going for it, that is the Italians.
Нет, это итальянцы кричат.
They got dragged into this battle for 4th or 3rd. France have been very, very good throughout the group standings so far. However, Italy 2-0 up with not long left to go whatsoever. Back to our featured match, Denmark and Canada. What sort of minute are you looking at for a Canadian goal here, Al, if you're thinking there might be something on the cards for this Canadian side as you flash it past the post?
So that would do quite nicely, Richard. I think with Canada, when you're saying we've got to get 3 goals, you've got to start getting that first goal at least in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The only downside that you're going to have is you start putting more numbers forward to give yourself that chance of making that comeback, because a draw isn't good enough. You need a win here. Is that you're still giving Marcuso and Anders chance for them to commit in numbers, for them to have that advantage on that counter-attack time and time again. That big press there, though, Zaha. Goal would have done very nicely there for Canada. You can see that constant press is coming on. Denmark struggling to their lines, as they do.
We've seen some truly miraculous things with the use of constant pressure and the instructions that you can implement on. We only have to remember back to last week, Footwiz trailing multiple times, getting back into the games, forcing late goals, extra time and penalties. They won't be able to do that here in the group standings, Canada. It's very simple, 28 minutes to go, 3 goals needed to keep your tournament alive. Yeah,
that's just it, isn't it, Rich? They are about to be eliminated. They don't turn things around. Aggie said it, why aren't they doing it now? They just need to go all-out attack, don't they? Just to give themselves a little bit of hope in the last round of fixtures as the game paused there.
Chance for it.
And we can go and have a look around the grounds as well as
Кто-то забил. United States забили. Офигеть, 360
as well. The United States with 17
Они сейчас
minutes
будут
left to
держать
play.
мяч, им победа
Find
нереально
themselves
нужна.
2-1 up against
Голландцы
Morocco. The
близко гол
Netherlands
читалось.
doing what unfortunately everyone seems to have done
Малайзия
over the
финнам
last couple
походу
of days in
засунула.
beating Qatar.
Им тоже победа нужна, им тоже время
3-0
тянут.
now, the Dutch lead. Finland still in front against Malaysia. This Group B is going to come down to their last moments here in this last round.
And at the top side of the table in Group B as well, neither team wants to say, I want that first spot. France losing to Italy, Morocco losing to the USA. Morocco win that game against the US, they say thank you. We'll take that top spot going into that last game. As it stands though, it will be France that stay top of that group regardless of their loss against Italy. If it stays that way, we should say. Malaysia and Finland 2-1.
Well, it's just back down between the USA really, isn't it? And the Finland at the moment, unless this goes... Oof, unless Malaysia have a comeback. If both teams win... Oof,
Кто забил?
and just taking it
Забили
away
Фин, все, они
with another
похоронили.
goal there.
Все, они
And yeah,
точно
it's gonna
выходят
be
из
really
группы.
tight. It looks like Group A has been summed up
Красавчики
there, Rich,
Фин.
but Group B gonna
Франция.
be that final match
Франция
to
забила
decide it all, I
Италии.
believe.
Well, it put Finland on to 12 points after this round. It put the USA on to 9. It's going to come
Аргентина,
down to a
Саудовская Аравия.
tiebreaker goal sort of different
Аргентина
situation.
Саудитов
The USA
забила на
play Malaysia,
88-й
Finland
минуте.
play Italy. So it is going to be real sort of small margins. However, Finland going into that game, probability-wise, 90%, 95% of going through, just given the
Gonna be that final
Франция
match to
забила
decide it all, I
Италию.
believe.
Well, it put Finland on to 12 points. Include that
за
Finland
да.
beat USA 3-1. It's going to come
Аргентина,
down to the earlier
Саудовская
round.
Аравия.
The USA drew with Finland, so the tiebreakers also go
Аргентина.
Finland's way.
Так, группа вот она. Сейчас они закончат, я вам все покажу. Ну, пока не закончили. Кто-то еще кричит. Может быть, это кричат саудиты, то, что они забили сразу. Но я не верю, им из-за Сари вообще же безэмоционально. Сейчас кого-то покажут.
Between Morocco and the United States, we are talking about the United States and what they must do and how they could do it.
Нет, марокканцы это кричат. До свидания, вамос.
And I think as it stands right now, in this moment,
Молодцы,
if it
Маракеш.
stands as it is,
Здесь
we have
пенка,
to top four
непонятно
that
за
group.
что.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it, Aggie? France, Morocco,
Чё
Italy,
это
and
вообще было?
Finland. But it's all still to play for, though, in this one. We still have a couple of
Pogba.
moments left. Ooh, Aggie, tell us
I
about
think
this.
a penalty
it will
for
be
Canada.
center.
Saved.
Safe.
That's a big
Правильно.
one.
I'm too happy about it.
Nice to get a clean sheet, though, isn't it? It is nice not to
That's
concede
right.
any of those.
Trying to be unbiased here.
That could be more than likely it's tournament over for Canada. It's a must-score situation. You need
Ui.
goals in
Молодец,
order to
офсайд.
turn this game
Офсайд, офсайд.
around as Malaysia and Finland right there.
I feel like we should go to Morocco, USA, because it's
Молодцы,
a big matchup. They're
финны.
drawed and they're
Сейчас
drawing at the moment,
проверим,
only
они
10
же
minutes
точно вышли уже.
just under
Так,
left
у
in
них
this
вот
one.
он матч крутой. И победа нужна
Morocco
Штатам.
flying forward with numbers.
Ой,
Attacking
очень
intent is on
опасно
the
так
forefront of their
Холланд.
mind here.
Продавливать
To the
будет.
byline, cuts it back.
Зубастик. Кто-то кричит.
You
Может,
give
это
it a
Штаты
shout. There's not
забили?
many games that are still in action.
Контратакой. На
Chance here
дальнюю.
for the United States. In behind. Just
Нет.
ran too far.
Кто кричал?
And it was Group B action. It was a goal and it
Италия.
was a game-winning moment for
Браво,
Italy. 3-0
ragazzi.
They take the victory against France. They solidify themselves into the latter knockout rounds here
До
with a game left to
свидания,
play.
да.
It's all about the seeding. Will they finish fourth or
Смотрим
third?
группу.
Is the question on their mind. To the back post, just offside for the United States.
Ладно, так,
Seconds remaining.
смотрим.
Not enough time, Rich. USA got to find something. Morocco doesn't really matter as much, does it?
I mean, just look at the numbers going forward though. Morocco want to win.
Куда
They wanna
пас
try and top this group.
врезается? Кросс, Холланд. R1 дриблинг опять на Кросса.
Quote-unquote,
Возвращает
get an easier
Гулиту,
matchup
пас вперед
in
на
the first round
форварда.
of the knockouts, the higher seed you have coming through the groups.
Запускает.
Left a bit of
Нет, не
space in
успел.
behind. The referee doesn't want it, and with that result,
Morocco.
Morocco pick up a point. The United States just leave it with
Финны.
too little, too late.
Финны,
in
походу,
the
забили,
final
похоронили.
round.
Бехос.
Points won't be made
Это
up.
чемпион. Это
Well,
наша
that's not
карточка
enough for them now.
Сакнезара.
Because
Дальняя
Finland
4.
looking like they're the winners in their
Ладно,
matchup
здесь
as we
уже
just see Denmark
скучно.
get a 4.
Франция.
It does look like this stage that
9 очков.
all the groups basically been done. We've got one more
Франция
round to play,
9
and,
очков.
we have our top
Ой,
four in
9
both
матчей,
of them.
16
Just
очков. Марокко
see the last
8,
few
9
moments
матчей,
of this
14
matchup there. This was
очков.
the one we thought
Италия
possibly come back
9
on, wasn't
матчей,
there, when that penalty
13.
just went
Финны
wide and was saved
9
there for
очков.
Canada. That could
Ой,
have
9
taken it
матчей,
2-1, and
12.
then, Denmark just ran away with it.
Малайзия, США.
Yeah, I
Все,
think,
да. Штаты сыграли ничего, все, Штаты не уходят, финны вышли. Красавчики. Просто красавчики.
Would still have required a miracle regardless that penalty would have gone in, but both groups concluded here. Now we just have to find out who finishes where.
What a performance, by the way, from Italy. We have to say it. They've looked subpar all day. They come into it against top of the table France.
Финны не вышли, ой, финны вышли из группы, Штаты и Малайзия не вышли.
Getting dragged into the conversation in Group B, they solidify themselves out of it. And now the level of points.
Пацаны, кто сейчас в чате есть, вы из Казахстана, и если вы оттуда, играете ли вы УТ?
There are a couple of huge performances everywhere. We needed a couple more big performances from the team sitting in 5th and 6th, and we really didn't get them there. We were talking about they needed to make a move there and didn't get to. So one of the teams though who have been excelling all day with a team from the Netherlands, and they finished second then in Group A as it stands. One more match
Они
to go,
вышли
but they
со
have
второго
booked their
места.
spots to tomorrow. Sven, are they feeling happy about that? They're going to make any changes in this final fixture just to try out anything new?
Well, I think there's still some stuff up for grabs in this group.
15 очков у Дании. Я понял. Они уже минимум со второго места. Минимум со второго места вышли голландцы. Первые за первое и второе борются с Аргентиной.
Now Denmark, we try to get at least a draw, maybe a win, and I hope in the knockouts we have to show our level again.
Both you and Argentina have had a really similar journey. You both lost your opening games, and since then you haven't lost. What was your first game like? What did you learn from it, and how did you change things?
So first game we wanted to have a bit more of an attacking duo in me and Emre. I think you take that risk of also conceding, and that happened in that game. That was unfortunate. But for example, against Argentina, we were 1-0 down, and we put me and Emre to play again, and we made it 2-2. So that's also one of the things that can happen. But I think most of the times Levi plays to add that more stability to the team. I think that's what we need sometimes, and then either me or Emre plays depending on form and situation.
Have you had a think at all about who you might face in the knockout rounds? We know you're going to be there. You know you're going to play someone from Group C, and you're now battling to try and get that second or third position. Is there a reason you'd prefer second? Are you trying to avoid anyone?
Well, of course, Group C is very tough. Like, only good teams will go out of that because that group is like the same as our group. But yeah, of course, the world champions are in that group, and we like to play them a bit later in the tournament. So we definitely want to get the second place at least, and hopefully first if Argentina.
Мы хотим выйти чемпионами с этой группы.
I'm going to talk to Argentina at some point today. They keep getting
В августе? Нет, брат, мы не в августе играем. Мы не прошли на этот турнир. Мы вылетели, мы играли в Сербии, и мы не вышли на него.
Who they're playing in the next round. That comes into play, doesn't it, when they get to the end of the group stages. Netherlands, they take on Denmark next. That's a big matchup as well.
Канада тоже не вышла. Канада, Катар вылетели. Здесь USA и Малайзия вылетели. Так-то финны играют последний матч с итальянцами, и они могут вообще скакнуть. Если Франция выиграет Марокко, а финны выиграют Италию, финны вообще могут со второго места выйти. Хотя пару туров назад непонятно было, выйдут они вообще или нет. Прикол. Красавчики финны. Наши кенты.
Morocco, Italy and Finland have all booked their spots in the next round because it's not mathematically possible for the USA and Malaysia to overhaul any of those sides. So again, they all want a few more points just to face a slightly easier opposition in the next round, which begins tomorrow. Anyone really looking to change anything up, do you think, boys, in this next round of who's already gone through?
I don't think anyone will necessarily change anything up, quote unquote, but I think the coaches will be saying to all of their players right now, look, we're through, we've got the job done. Yes, you might want to get first, second, third, wherever you are in your position, but it's about going into the last game and just playing with freedom, playing with confidence, knowing it's your last game of the day. Let's make sure we go out there, we play good FIFA, we play good football, give ourselves confidence going into that round of 16.
Aggie, is this a chance to practice some things that haven't gone well before, or just a chance to kind of sharpen up some more skill moves that maybe you haven't used and might come and be impactful later on in the competition?
I think at this stage of the competition, it's more about just the small adjustments, and I also think that the coaches on the different teams definitely got some specific answers to which players are we going to use for the game tomorrow. I think we saw a lot of rotation, and I feel like that they need to have a definitive lineup for tomorrow.
I would like to see Eze Correa play. He's been sat behind them for 9 rounds. They're through. They're guaranteed to be in there. Last 45 minutes maybe. Just give him a little bit of game time.
Is there anything else actually with a third player, substitution reserve, we haven't seen? It would be nice to get them in the side out here. This is when I want to turn around, but if I do that, it doesn't look great.
I think Saudi Arabia as well. I think it's been Abu Makr and Dasari have played all the games so far, to my knowledge, unless I've missed maybe a substitution in the games, but I don't think they have. I think they've stuck with 2. Argentina stuck with 2. I know Italy have subbed, they've been subbing every 45 minutes.
Saudi may be possibly a team that could do that, but the likes of Argentina, they're not going to do that, are they? Because they want to finish top of the group, I'm going to say. Same with France.
For Group A, I don't know if there's any advantage for finishing first, because you're going up against Group C. Like, there's a good chance you'll be playing Portugal if you finish first. So, I don't know, maybe we'll see more in Group B, where you want to play for that seeding. First in Group B will get an easier match. In Group D, A to C, you're going to be playing anyone good.
Well, you always look at France, don't you? You go, well, what kind of game are they deciding to play? Alex, do they have Fuma in the hot seat, or do they have Diogo?
Well, they need to win, right? If they want to top that group, they've got to go out there and they've got to win. I think.
But are they going to go attacking, or are they just going to sit back and defend and try and go for maybe a draw as well?
Just go for it. You may as well. You know, you're in that position where you've made that round of 16. Fuma has come in and time again, he's grabbed those goals. He's been so important for them throughout this tournament. I'd start attacking rather than being a little bit more defensive, a little bit more on that passive outcome, and saying, let's just go out there, let's play our game, let's have some fun with it, and let's get the win. Brian, though, more qualified than me, maybe he's got different ideas.
So you're thinking possibly Fuma sits in then to go a bit more attacking for Team France. Aggie, and the Danes going to change anything up in this last one? Oostin hasn't had that much game time.
I think he had some good substitutions. I don't think they're going to change, because if they were to beat the Netherlands, they'll climb up as a second in the group, which I think still matters in some sort, especially in the group of death. But we could definitely see him coming on to the game if he doesn't start.
Well, Levy's jumped back in then. We saw earlier, didn't we, Manu Bashir and Yilmaz. Is this their strongest starting lineup here for the Netherlands?
Probably, yeah. I don't know the
Champions
statistics
League
of it.
winner there.
Oostin
And then
is in for Denmark. He did get the nod, so it's going to be Oostin starting. He played 45 minutes in the last game yesterday in this exact match. He got brought on at half-time, and he's coming in for the full 90 this time around. Maybe just to get me a bit of game time, and also see how he adapts to the matches. Last round, not a lot to play for, but you want to be going into tomorrow on the back of a win, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally. Well, Oostin jumps in. We did ask the question, Aggie, if he was going to. Rich thinks it's just nice for him to get an entire 90 minutes under his belt. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It makes me happy to see that he also gets some play time, because over the years, I mean, he's been one of the most successful players and one of the strongest as well in Denmark. So for him also to be activated, I think it's important. He has some offensive attributes that could be very, very vital for Denmark if they have to chase a game.
And Eze Correa is in for Argentina. Nicolas stepped out. Mateus and Eze are going to be playing this last match for Argentina against Qatar. So statistically, they've got the easiest game in the group, and they're going to be taking on Qatar in the last game. Eze Correa, he could get a medal if they go on to win, because he has played a game.
Well, it's a big matchup actually in the France-Morocco, and we were saying whoever wins that does top the table, as we just see the start of the Netherlands-Denmark game as well. But that's a pretty important game just for confidence, isn't it, Alex, as well? The France-Morocco, one of who goes into the next day, as we just get a goal there for Denmark.
Yeah, and to answer the question as well, for France and Morocco, France obviously 2 points clear at the top of the table. They know if they can get that draw or a positive result of the win, they will top that group. And we said, were they going to go attacking, were they going to go defensive? Well, Brian has chosen to go with a defensive route of bringing in Diogo Fuma, drops to the bench, which in a way is probably the best decision you could make, I suppose, to go back on my words earlier on, purely for the fact of if you find yourself 1-0 down, at least you've got the ability to bring on Fuma. Because if it was reversed and Fuma was in that starting lineup, you have to stick with what you have. Morocco need to take the game to France. They need to have a convincing performance to see themselves
Кто-то забил.
in that first position.
Аргентина. Аргентина. Гендузи просто занес Салба.
Against Qatar.
Ну, Катар все последние.
We've not been in the hot seat. We've not
Последний матч группового этапа.
Is it actually a thing, or is it you finish on the group standings, then you come into the knockouts, and you might? I've seen a lot of people go 7-0 in Swiss and they get knocked out in the first knockout game. Is it more important to come in with a fresh mindset and think, okay, now what's happened before doesn't matter, or can you take things that you learned in the groups and take it forward?
Марван и Айман, двум братьям-близнецам забили.
Got through day 1 and day 2, so to speak, but I also agree that every day of the competition is a new one.
Голландцы пропустили уже
I will
датчан.
say, and I have said this many times before, the hardest game in the tournament for me personally was always the first game of the day. So when you're coming into the knockout stage,
Блин, капец хочется на такой турнир.
if you would have made a successful group stage and finished one, just because it's a new day and you need to settle in the nerves, you need to find the flow again. It just makes it so hard. So both yes and no.
And we often say the phrase, all the players, if you ask them, are you looking forward to who you might be playing, they always say, I'm going to take one game at a time, I'm going to look only at the next game. Do you actually believe that? Or do you sometimes think, well, if I win this game, I've got quite a nice run in the rest of the bracket?
Он закрутился за Руссельон.
You look at who are in your three, so to speak, but I think it would be very naive to look forward. I mean, you have to just take one game per time. You can't start focusing on games that doesn't exist yet. That's just how I always like to approach my matches when I was competing. One game at a time, especially at the knockout stage.
And there's probably only one player that we know of that goes on the opposite way of that scale. Anders, in that Club World Cup, they finished their group. He immediately went, Bromby semi-final. I want to be there. That's who I want to play against. I want to knock them out. I want to send them home. Maybe it just comes down to what sort of player we're dealing with. As we jump over to this game, United States, Malaysia, 32nd minute. It is Malaysia, which, yes, they are not going to be advancing through to that round of 16. However, today they have put on a bit more of a show. Back to the game with Morocco on that attack.
1-0,
It does matter though with
Марокко не собирается останавливаться.
Today, so whoever gets the win there, I say the win because if they get a draw, then they're both kind of a joint, aren't they? Bottom of the group. You don't want to go home sitting at the bottom of your table.
No, you don't. But I think also both of these teams are saying,
Товарищеский матч, Man United с Leeds играет.
Have that enjoyment where we can, and then see our trip home. But there has been news and goals from elsewhere. Which way has it gone, Richard?
Yeah, it was that match between the Netherlands and Denmark. The Dutch equalising against the Danes. 30 minutes on the clock. And we get to see a little bit of the celebration all the way back to the halfway line as we join this action live. Canada and Saudi Arabia still goalless. Argentina leading 1-0 against Qatar. And France and Italy, you've not missed any of the action there. That's 0-0 as the Netherlands fist bumps all around. That means they've scored again, 2-1. They lead.
Quick turnaround there, gotta say that. Again, just goes to show how impressive the Netherlands has been so far. not always easy to be one of the favorites, but they're just going to show that they're ready for this task.
Well, you were just talking about the Italian side, weren't you, there, Rich? Finland, though, might just be trying to upset the apple cart. Oh.
Yeah, we can have a look at that goal. We just saw sort of the back of it. Turned his man, fired it in at the near post. Netherlands 2-1 up against Denmark. This was Finland and Italy. And Finland's goal 1-0.
Если сейчас финны выиграют, они на втором месте
Finland,
будут.
Italy is the correct result. France losing 1-0 against Morocco. It's been a long couple of days.
Did you see that as well there from Finland? That goal they scored? The ball on the ground. Different.
Plus they're through. They don't have to play more serious now. They're a bit more relaxed. But this will put them above Italy in the group as well. So they statistically get a nicer first knockout round matchup. Morocco equalised against France for the hunt for top spots.
The Shoto brothers are not
Два брата-близнеца пока отлетают. Голландцы успели уже выигрывают. Психи. Что происходит у них? Капец за группе. Малайзия вообще выигрывает Штаты. Так, голландцы 3-1, камон.
Yeah, it's definitely a compromise you can make at some times, and I mean.
А как играет? Аргентина выигрывает, понятно. Тогда голландцы так и остаются на втором месте. Я думал, они сейчас на первом. А здесь Марокко выиграет, Францию скакнет на первое, а финны, если выигрывают, на третье, а Италия на четвертом. Офигеть. Нет, матчи бесполезны. Ничего нового показывают.
Slight advantage over the USA, who couldn't really turn it around. They said they really played well, didn't they, against France a little bit earlier on, and they believed they could have won a couple of their matches, but they needed to go and win all three final matches here, and they just couldn't do it.
US had moments throughout this tournament where they looked good, some really nice work goals. They just struggled to remain consistent, to be solid at the back. A few times where they didn't clear their lines. The press came through from the opponent,
бесполезный матч, там зачем
giving away some cheap goals, and that has been the story for themselves as we are still on this game in Group B between these two sides that are on their way home. And with score lines elsewhere, Canada and Saudi Arabia 0-0 right now. I say that, and I'm sure we'll get some news very shortly. Oh,
Штаты забили за штрафного.
Why couldn't they have done that earlier, eh, Alex?
They didn't, and it's actually, you mentioned about how, okay, yeah, they don't want to finish bottom of that group, neither of these sides. It's very rare that we actually see direct free kicks taken at this level, and this is the goal that is going to be for Saudi Arabia. Cooking and moving. Lovely finish. You like that one, Aggie?
That was a good one for the eye.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed by Saudi Arabia. I didn't really know what to expect. Just the simple fact that we've not seen a lot of, I mean, especially Abu Maka, we've seen a fair bit of. We can't get enough of it. Club World Cup, eNations, and the E-World Cup. But I think for Dasari, it was a little bit of unknown. Like, how much has he been playing? We saw him at the playoffs. He had a good run. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get over and win a penalty shootout in the end to qualify for the E-World Cup. It was just a bit of an unknown, but I suppose over the last 5 years of FIFA esports, there's one thing I've learned not to do, and that's doubt Dasari and his performances that he puts up.
Would you say for Dossary as well? He almost comes into his element when they do get into that knockout stage FIFA, 2 legs. That's where maybe a Saudi Arabian team that we've seen that have been so exceptional could maybe even reach new heights in this tournament.
It'd be great, wouldn't it, to see a comeback for the team from Saudi, and Dossary being a world champion again a couple of years after the last time we saw him lift a title. That says quite a lot as well, doesn't it, Aggie? If you can do it a few years ago and then come back and do it again when we haven't seen much about him.
Yeah, and I mean, what a story would be for him to do it here in his home country. He's definitely, as I've been saying, I would never go against MS Dossary at FIFA E-World Cup or eNations Cup just because of his history. He's always there, he's always performing, so I'm really excited to see him And one other team that I gotta say it's been the surprise of the competition for me. I didn't expect them to do a lot, but so far their winning will be, as far as I'm concerned, is Morocco. I didn't know what to
Убивают
expect,
Марокко
but
3-0
right now,
просто.
they're putting on a show and they're outplaying
Вы
France.
посмотри, что они
All I've
делают.
seen for the last 4 or 5 months on social media is how good Morocco are, but they've not had the opportunity to play. You speak to Dory,
открою
he'll tell you
YouTube.
how good the talent is in Morocco, and especially this roster that they've assembled for this
Так,
tournament.
откроем в
It's
YouTube.
not that I didn't expect it, I just
Так.
didn't expect it to go so well. Like, I thought they would go through the group. I thought they might go for 4th or 3rd. To fly through the group in the manner that they have had, very, very impressed by Morocco. And we saw Morocco at the World Cup. You were there, Rachel, back in Qatar.
Come
2022.
on, Morocco,
A surprising
our
result. Why
brothers.
not do the same here?
Let's go,
And they became a
Kazakhstan
fan
together
favourite
with
then.
Morocco.
Everybody got behind them, and I think that's what you heard Mr. Dory say again here. He said, you know, we hope to get everyone in Morocco behind not just the national side, but this virtual e-football side as well. And I'm sure if they go a bit
Кто,
further
блин,
into
я
competition,
забыл
they will
сейчас.
get a lot of
Это наши
support
друзья
from
марокканцы.
back home.
I mean, this just is such a statement performance as
Убивают
well. No one's
просто.
made France look like this. No one's made them look pretty ordinary throughout this tournament, and that's exactly what
Айман,
Morocco are doing.
Marwan и
We saw the
Байман.
Fuma jump back in as well, so they're
Who's
looking to
running
go
into
more attacking
Bайман
now,
же?
and Morocco obviously got a third back when that switch had happened as well.
Нет, блин, как
We're
его?
talking about
А,
United
Бази.
States. They switched back to fiddle and lamps. Unfortunately, they just conceded another one. They went 2-2 now. USA taking on Malaysia there.
Did I just see Hugo Lloris just
Slap that top bin, yes.
not even green either? Just pick this one out. Maybe when you look at that, the US, yes, they are out of this tournament now. Rachel, you mentioned about how you can go out and play with freedom. They weren't doing that in this games that meant more, where they had to get those 3 points. They had to ensure that they still had their tournament alive. And it is Denmark coming back in against the Netherlands. Netherlands were 3-1 to the good. Houston coming in with Anders as we jump over to Finland v Italy. Finland and Italy putting up a stormer of a game, 1-1 in that fixture. This was that goal that we just saw there, Raggy.
Yeah, definitely. All games are tied right now. Also, just as we're seeing on the screen now, Denmark
Marwan.
somehow found a way back into this match. And a goal more, I'm just saying, just changing up the summarize of Denmark's group if they would to get to that second place.
Saw on the screen there, Finland restoring that lead that they had over Italy. It is their main man up front, Petr Cech, with a penguin
Так,
dance.
что
Someone
надо
told you
сделать?
6 weeks ago,
Написать.
you'd be competing for $1 million, and you'd be having an attack of Petr Cech, Thierry Henry. You'd have a midfield of Hugo Lloris and Milinkovic-Savic, and at the back, Emi Martinez and Gigi Buffon as your centre halves. I think, what year are we playing?
I would say we're playing FIFA. That's what I'd say. USA then 2-2. That
Come
does
on,
end their
Morocco.
campaign
Come on,
against
Турция.
Malaysia there.
Наши
Unlucky for those
братья
guys,
все
finishing fifth
как
and
надо
sixth.
сыграли.
Finland, Italy. Didn't expect that result to be as it is. In Argentina, Qatar, full time, 2-0.
Все, Марокко
Eze Correa
вылетел.
then jumps in for Nicholas, doesn't he, with Matthias
Матьяс
Bonanno there.
Бонанно.
Nice for him to get a chance.
Марокко 4.
I believe that's
Они
the
уже
most
все
points
есть на
we've seen as
приколе.
well. Accumulated 23 points.
Чисто
If,
праздник устроили
if
себе.
memory correctly, for Argentina, that was more than we saw at the Club World Cup last week in the 10 rounds of groups. And it's going to be a real feat. Probably the only side this evening that might get near it is Turkey, if they continue their form from yesterday. The Netherlands and Denmark putting on a classic here with 14 minutes left to play. Impressed by what you've seen from Denmark to bring this tie back, Aga?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely capable of getting those goals. as far as I can see, no substitution for them, so they just stuck with the same two players, Houston and Anders, and I mean, that's what they can do. Their offensive abilities are remarkable, as I've been saying, and I think
Динамо Тбилиси
the
забил.
entire FIFA Pro scene would know that it's two players with a high reputation in terms of scoring a lot of goals, so even if they get behind with 2 or 3 goals, they would still be able to
Голландцы
bounce
с
back.
датчанами что устроили
They
за
would still need
перестрелку?
another goal to make it count for real, because that
Stop,
would
make a pause,
swap the
my
two
drill,
teams in the
Rolls
group.
Royce. You know,
Saudi Arabia, their
Dumbo.
match has just
Choo-choo,
concluded as
big
well.
mouth.
They were taking on Canada 3-0. That just adds another little bit of a nail in the coffin, doesn't it, of Team Canada, who exit here as well alongside Qatar there.
Morocco are making France look like they shouldn't be going through right now, leading 5 goals to 1. Back on board for the final few minutes against Netherlands and Denmark. What a performance from Morocco, Al.
Massive performance. We spoke to Dory yesterday after the event, and he mentioned how in that first matchup they had against France yesterday, they had some technical difficulties, and Morocco were looking on top before
2-0 up, I think.
2-0 up before they had those technical difficulties. That came through, and he said it just stopped them in their tracks. They didn't get back into the kind of rhythm and the movement and the vibe that they had. And he said, wait until tomorrow. They're delivering on that.
Maybe they got a bit complacent as well in their first 2 rounds earlier on today. They got a draw, didn't they? And a loss to Malaysia there. And then Mr. Dory wasn't really worried, was he?
Had confidence in his team.
Had confidence in his team. Maybe he knew, he said the nerves were getting to him a little bit. As we share the points then with those 2 teams on your screen, they make it through to tomorrow.
Всё.
Well, it's all been completed,
Датчане.
hasn't it, here between groups A and
Саудовская
B. We
Аравия
now know
закрыла.
our round of 16 teams, and Spencer
Это
is
easy.
right down there.
Блин,
Spencer, who are you
группа у
going to
них.
chat to?
О,
first?
Никола Вильальба.
Argentina.
Сейчас послушаем, что он скажет,
I'm
перейдем.
with the guys from Argentina. I've just informed Nicholas exactly what Richard was saying on the couch a minute ago. 23 points is the most
Рыбакина
anyone's got
хода
just
отставка.
so far here at eNations, but also
Рыбакина
in Club
затравила
World Cup.
плотно.
That's pretty dominating
После этих матчей
performance,
группы
very tough
С и Д. Да, только они через 1,5 часа. Салам, жесть как. Все отлично, Рахмет, все супер. Послушаем, что скажет Николас.
The most points possible. So yeah, we tried and I think we are okay.
What a turnaround from that first game. You started with a defeat, let's not forget. It was a penalty, it was 2 penalties actually, but only 1 went in. But ever since then, you just turned into a different machine and no one could beat you.
Yeah, that's what I say to Mati, and you have to be with that mindset in the sense every game is important, you know what I mean? And also like you have to improve, you know, if you lose it's for something, and I think every game we are improving, so I'm so happy like today we play really, really good.
Он сказал, что мы играли типа хорошо. В каждой игре я считаю, что нужно улучшать. Типа игру неважно, выиграли или проиграли.
The best national team, we have to beat like every national team, you know what I mean? If there is, I don't know, Brazil, Portugal, Spain, or whoever, we don't care. Like, we want the trophy. I love it. Great work, guys.
Он сказал, мы можем выиграть любую страну. Типа, нам не важно, кто будет против нас, Бразилия, Испания, Португалия, все равно. Мы страна, которая можем выиграть этот турнир. Ну, на самом деле он прав. У них сильный состав. Вот они, гении, финны.
Guys, so yesterday, 5 games for you, 1 win, couple draws, 5 points is what you had. Today, they've really turned it on. 3 wins in a row to close it out as well.
3 победы сегодня, вчера всего 5 очков.
Now we was able to score our chances, so it shows.
Because of that win in that
Мы
last
рады,
game
что у нас
against Italy, not only
получилось
did
это.
Finland manage to make it out of the groups when you probably would have bet against them going into today, they actually finished 3rd. You didn't finish 4th, so that's really important, isn't it?
Они вышли третьими из группы.
Yeah, I think it's good, but it's just important to get out of the group. Like you can face anyone, and anyone is good, and then it's 1B or 2.
Вообще не понимаю, что он говорит. Я понял, что типа мы вышли с 3-го места, и это хорошо. Все, я вообще не понимаю, что он сказал на финско-английском своем.
Pretty dominant so far. Well, that has confirmed
Они что,
everything
падают на
then
группу
in the groups A and B. I don't wanna
Израиля?
just bring
Это
our
вообще
attention back to our
неприятно.
predictions, 'cause that's always quite
У
fun,
них
isn't it?
капец группы. Капец, у них
I'm gonna go
17,
straight to Mark,
16,
he's not here,
15,
so I can
13.
call
Все
him
на
out.
очень тоненько.
E-Red
Италия,
with
кстати, там где-то тоже
USA
4-е место
topping
вышло, кажется.
Group B there. None of us, I can confirm, had Morocco.
Чекайте. Первая группа, 23 очка. Аргентина, вы сумасшедшие. У них первое место 17 очков. Здесь у Турции уже 13 после первого дня и еще 5 игр.
Did anyone have Argentina? Rich, you putting your hand up and said it's Spence. Smug there is Richard Buckley. A lot of us had Denmark and also the Netherlands. So we did get all of our teams going through, apart from, unfortunately, USA. Well, let's confirm then.
Unfortunately.
Argentina. I mean, who wouldn't want to have Nicholas leading your team out here? He's such a great leader now. He's been here for so many years, and he has got so much experience. The Netherlands then and Saudi Arabia go through, as did Denmark. Really, we're saying goodbye to Canada and Qatar, unfortunately. And then Group B, Morocco. No one had them as table toppers of Group B. They went around their business quite well. Yes, then they came back at a shaky start to come back and get 17 points. France 16, Finland 15, and Italy go through as well in 13 points. Looking at those, though, 23 points to 17. Quite the difference in points gathered between the two sides there.
I think it's mainly just down to Argentina being fabulous. If you would have said before the tournament, pick the 8 nations that go through Group A and B, I think I'm 8 for 8. I think I'd have gone the 8 nations that went through. I think Group A was, no offence to the teams, but pretty easy to predict. I think that the 4 there, in the 4 that went through, everyone would have said that they would have gone through. And then Group B, it was a toss-up between the United States and Finland before the tournament started. I'd seen more of Finland personally. I watched them in England's qualifying campaign. I know what they're like. Having the experience last week here with YMCA as well. Bringing in Kosu, they knew how much of an impact.
Друзья, все, наверное, мы пока закончим. У нас есть перерыв 1,5 часа. И вернемся уже к сборной Турции.